everyone. This is our second week of the practice for our hypertension group. If you were unable to attend in class, or if you would just like to add an additional practice, this will be really similar. It's a very restorative style class, so you can choose to do it in your bed if you would like, or other additional props. If you want to use a chair for the seated portions, you can. I am going to cue some things with what you hopefully have at home, a small blanket. If you have a bolster style or a larger pillow, that's great. If not, you can always use like a couple of small pillows. There's going to be some times where we want a little more cushioning. If you have an eye pillow or anything like that, you want to go ahead and grab that as well. So we are going to go ahead and gather up our props. If you don't mind, go ahead and take your blood pressure before we start, so we know we have that taken care of. And then come back to join us. Maybe add some soft music if you'd like as well. So we're going to start seated. You're going to find what's comfortable for you. And like I said, you can be lying in your bed or sitting in a chair. You can sit on your props if you are on the floor. And we're just going to start to notice the breath. And this week we are talking about our sacral chakra, which is where our creativity flows. And this chakra is oftentimes associated with the water element, so you can keep that in mind. Some mantras we could choose to add are, I allow creativity to flow. I am amazing. I love the person that I have become. So feel free to choose something that speaks to you today. And we're starting to bring our awareness into a belly breath. So if you'd like to place your hands on your belly, you can. You can also let your hands support you in another position. We'll take that big full inhale and imagine that we could blow our bellies up like a balloon. And as we exhale, we feel it shrink back down. So just go ahead and do that a few times. And then we're going to add our Usha Mudra. So we are going to interlace our fingers so the palms and the fingers are facing the body and just resting the thumbs one on top of the other. And you can let the hands rest, or you can draw them into the belly and come back into that belly breath. We'll practice one more round. Then we'll release our hands. We're going to find a CatCow Flow. I'm going to show it seated, and then I'll also show it from an all-fours position. You can decide what works best. We're just moving through the spine. So from a seated position, our cat will be kind of arching the spine like that C shape. So we draw the belly button back. We let the head fall forward. The tailbone is tucked forward. Your hands could come in front or rest behind you. And then for our cow pose, we're opening the heart, we're just countering that. So we draw the tailbone back, draw the heart back, press forward through the belly and the ribs. And we can just kind of move through that a little bit. And if you prefer to do it from an all-fours position or even with the support of something like a chair or a table, it will just look like this. We're going to tuck ourselves into that cat and then opposing that with our cow pose. So go ahead and do a few rounds of cat-cow. We're opening the spine, creating space for the breath. And then we'll return to a seated position and adding in a gentle spinal twist. So lengthening the spine before we start. When you're ready, we inhale to open, create that space. We're going to twist to one side. Exhale as we settle in. We'll inhale back to center. Take a nice exhale. On your next inhale, we move the opposite direction. And again, using the exhale to settle. into center. So just flowing with that. If you want to flow with the breath, that's great. If you feel that you want to hold in that twist on one side or the other, give yourself permission to do so. Trying to finish evenly, so making sure you get both sides the same amount of time. Our first restorative pose will be a side lying pose. So this is where you can decide how much comfort you would like, depending on what you are lying on. I have kind of a longer pillow here that I am going to use, and I'm going to bring my blanket underneath my hip. So I'm going to start lying on my left side, and I'm going to let my rib cage melt onto that support. I can support the head however feels best. We all have different shapes of bodies, and we all have different props at home. So listening to your body, see what works. If you need to add other props or make adjustments, feel free to do so. We'll be here for several breaths. That's how our restorative works, is we kind of hang out in the poses for a while, letting our bodies settle into it naturally, letting gravity help open. Feel free to make adjustments with your legs as well. So whenever you decide you are ready to make that adjustment, we are going to simply switch sides. So if you'd like to press your top hand into the earth to offer support while you sit up, you can choose to simply turn the body and face the opposite direction, or you can move your props. So it just depends on what is easiest for you. Either one is totally fine. Remembering one side might feel different than the other, so the way you choose to support it could look different as well. So we invite that rib cage to melt down. We support the head in whatever feels the best. Modify through the legs if we need to. And again, when you decide you're ready, you can press that top hand into the mat, gently lift. Take our time moving from pose to pose. And when you're ready to move into our next pose, it is going to be a belly press pose. So if you, again, are lying on your bed or on something more comfortable, this may feel more accommodating for you. If lying on the floor and your belly does not feel good for any reason, we're just simply trying to create sensation through the belly. So if you wanted to sit and just kind of press a pillow or something into your belly, or even lie down and place some heavy weight on your belly, that would be fine too. You're still going to get the added sensation. If you'd like to practice it on the floor, we'll think about bringing our pillow or pillows so they're right underneath kind of our hip region, and we might use our other pillow or our blanket to support our head. So we'll make our way there. We can make those little adjustments. Kind of imagine your low back being the highest point of your body, letting it be fully supported. And if you choose to use that other blanket or pillow, you can rest on your arms. You can make a little cup with your hands to support the forehead or the chin. And I will cue you when we are about halfway through. So if you want to turn, if you're looking, resting on one cheek and you want to turn, or like I have my toes out, I might decide to turn my toes in. So I'll let you know that when we are halfway through, we can make those subtle adjustments if we need to. So if you'd like to turn the head, adjust the feet, anything else that you'd like to do, this is kind of our halfway point. So with our next inhale, we'll go ahead and invite the hands to come under the shoulders, gently pressing ourselves up and making our way back. Take a moment to just find a few breaths, kind of settle in. It's not a position we do a lot in everyday life, so it can feel a little different, and that's okay. Just kind of embracing that. The last restorative pose that we're going to do before our Shavasana is going to be on our backs. So if you would like to go ahead and have your blood pressure cuff close by, or if you want to put it on now, you can. I'll tell you again in just a moment when we are going into our full relaxation. But we are going to come into a supine butterfly. And again, this is one if you're not comfortable lying on your back, you could find a wall or sit up against something and practice butterfly, simply the soles of the feet together, inviting the knees to kind of melt down. I'm going to go ahead and do the lying version, and you can do this in your bed. So if you want any support for the upper back or shoulders, or you want to use a pillow for that, you can have that. I also am going to think about using those props to support my knees, just depending on how comfortable you feel with the legs hanging out in space. For some people it's fine. And as always, you may notice a little difference between how open your hips are. One side might feel more receptive than the other. So I like to use those props, kind of slide them under the outer thigh, and I may decide to adjust that as it opens. I may feel like I can shift it closer to the knee. So that could be done with a pillow or with a blanket. Or if you do have like a longer or a bolster, you can oftentimes slide that and it will go under both hips pretty comfortably. And if you want that added weight in the belly, you could place something like a book. You could use your eye pillow, or you could even place like a blanket or an extra pillow, or even just the weight of the hands sometimes can feel very supportive. And if you'd like to add your eye pillow or close your eyes, feel free to do so. So from here, and this could be your pose for Shavasana or final relaxation, we are going to make our way there. So we want to be fully relaxed and completely comfortable, letting our bodies only have to breathe. So making sure that we're warm enough, making sure that we have the support of props that we need, sometimes putting some support under our knees if we're lying on our backs. Sometimes that can feel much better on our low back. Sometimes we need to support the head and neck. So go ahead and press pause if you need to. This will just be a lying down pose. You'll have your cup on. So we're going to go ahead and put that on if it's not already on. And take as long as you want to get really comfortable. Like pretend you are going to go to bed. So take a moment to get there. I am actually going to be sitting up. I'm reading a guided meditation. So if you're not following me, you are getting yourself as relaxed as you can. So once you're there, we'll go ahead and close the eyes. We're going to take a long, deep breath. We'll take another full inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and move your attention to the lower part of your abdomen. just below the navel. And imagine a glowing orange light. Start to imagine the orange glow spreading out to the rest of the body. Maybe think of it like ripples on the surface of water. Maybe feeling the ebb and the flow of gentle waves. And letting your imagination take you to a pristine white sand beach just before dawn. You look at the sky and you notice it is streaked with orange in eager anticipation of the sun. You watch the sky. After a moment, you look down at the infinite expanse of gentle surf and calm water that is in front of you. You step forward and you dip your toes into the warm water of the ocean. Notice how the water slowly approaches, laps around the feet, and then returns to its source. You move forward, and now the waves caress the knees and the thighs. The water is crystal clear, and you can see the white, sandy floor underneath the feet. You move into the water, and you start to swim effortlessly. After a few moments, you turn and ease onto your back, and you begin to float like a weightless leaf. You gaze at the orange sky while moving and flowing gently with the waves. You notice the feeling of weightlessness. You notice it in your feet and your toes. You bring that sensation and awareness into the ankles, the calves, the knees, the upper legs, the hips. You allow that feeling of lightness to take over the low back, the rib cage, the upper back, the shoulders. Feeling the arms weightless all the way out to the fingertips. Feel the head floating on the water. Feel the whole body relaxed and supported and weightless. You breathe deeply and you feel that relaxing energy funneling down the spine. You rest in this awareness. When you're ready, you gently turn to start swimming again. You realize that the sea has safely carried you back to the shore. Your feet find the sand, and you begin walking out of the water. You look back at the sea, and you feel one with it. So when you are ready, taking as long as you'd like, we'll go ahead and measure the blood pressure again from this rested position, and then take as long as you need to gently return to your day.